Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Joy. Today we're going to be talking about most asked questions that are very important before you say I do, before you walk down the aisle, before you decide to do forever with that person, be it as a man or as a woman. Now, I know there is no manual to a happy marriage. There's no technicalities to these things, and there are certain things that are still meant to be at the end of the day, but there are certain questions that when you ask before, emphasis on before, because these are not questions you ask in marriage, these are questions you ask before you go into marriage. So when you ask these questions, it not only gives you clarity on purpose and what you're going into, it also makes you understand the kind of person you're courting and the kind of person you're looking to spend the rest of your lives with. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump right in. So the first question will have to be, what are you looking for in a partner? Now, this is a very important question because you'd be surprised the kind of characteristics a man or a woman is looking for in their partner. When you ask them this question, it gives you clarity on so many things. Do they want a stay-at-home wife? Do they want a career woman? Do they want both? Do they want someone who's very religious or more social or more secular? These are things you don't assume because you see the kind of life they live. There are men that are like, all clubby and all that, but they want women that are very religious and women that will go to church and keep praying for them, while some other people are different. So these are conversations to open to the table, and just by hearing them speak, you already know what your partner is looking for, and that way you know whether you fit into that category or not. The second question to ask would be, what is your love language? A lot of people do not know that love language is a thing. So the earlier you understand that people have a particular way they want to be loved and love, the better, because sometimes when you love a person a certain way, you think you're doing the right things, you think you're hitting them in the right spot, but they don't feel the love. Okay, they don't feel the love, and that's why sometimes they don't reciprocate that love, because you're not even loving them the way they want to be loved. So talking about their love language, for a man it could be respect. Men are very big on respect. For a woman it could be quality time and attention, it could be gifts. These are things to talk about, because imagine saying you love somebody and you don't even show them that you love them because you're not speaking their love language. So yeah, it's a conversation definitely worth having before marriage. The third question will be, what is or are your conflict resolution strategy or style? How do you resolve issues in relationships? Are you a shouter? Are you a quiet person? Are you the silent treatment kind of person? How do you address things? Some people cry when they're upset or when they're trying to pass a message. Some people are all like, you know what, I don't want to talk about it. Sometimes they can be all of the above, and these are conversations you need to have. It is worthy of note to say that sometimes a person's background or environment could also influence on how they resolve these issues. Take, for example, you're cutting a person who comes from a family where they're always shouting, or when they're upset, they raise their hands to beat their partner. That would be an issue, because that would end up being their conflict resolution style, because that's maybe all they know. And having these conversations will enable you see them for who they are, understand how to navigate it if it's something you're willing to work on or work with them on, and then go from there. Still on conflict resolution, you also need to know if this person is somebody that holds grudges. There are people that in their relationships, when they have arguments or when they're upset with your partner, they can hold grudges for as long as forever, because that's how they want to communicate their anger or whatever it is they're feeling. Some other people find it very difficult to forgive and forget. It's one thing to forgive, it's another thing to forget. People have their different ways of resolving issues, but I think that there are some that are extreme. This is the reason why you should ask these questions, because you don't want to go into marriage and then begin to see things that you're like, oh my God, I never saw this flag. This is a big red flag and I don't know if I can cope. Okay, so these are things you need to talk about. And also, not everything is about talking. Sometimes you just need to sit and observe. Sometimes you have issues and you watch them react to it. You watch their reactions, and that is probably all the answer you need. Okay, the fourth question you should be asking before saying I do or before walking down that aisle is knowing their turn on and their turn offs. Guys, this is such a big thing. And by big thing, you may not understand the magnitude until you find yourself in a situation where you just probably do something and your partner is like, how? You know, while I was dating my husband, I remember one time when he came into the room and I wore his boxers. And he was like, what is this? Why are you wearing my boxers? And I'm like, because I want to. And then he looked really confused and unsettled about it. And I'm like, what's the big deal? Only to realize that it's not his thing. It was a turn off for him. Even though he gradually adjusted to understanding that that's my kind of person and because I feel really comfortable around him. But that is an example of a turn off. Some people may just not want you to eavesdrop in their conversations, or they don't want you to touch their phones or have access to their phones. It could be things as minute and as little as these things. That's why they're called turn-offs and turn-ons. And for the turn-ons, it could be just gifting them. It could be things as asking them, how did your day go? Have you had dinner? Do you want me to assist you in this, in that? So having these conversations will save you a lot of stress in marriage. Trust me. The fifth question you should be asking is, what is your take on divorce? Has any of your family members ever divorced, and has it impacted you directly, negatively or positively? This question is so important, guys, because if you know marriage, if you're a Christian like myself, we believe that marriage is a lifetime commitment. It's a lifetime journey, right? So it's not something we're going into to come out of it whenever, okay? We're going in and we're going in forever. You need to be sure that you both are on the same page on the idea of marriage and the concept of divorce. Is it something that would ever be on the table when the going gets tough? Is it something he or she's thinking in their head that this is going to lead to this? There are a lot of people that give their marriages or their relationships a timeline. Oh my God, I don't think I'll make it past 3 years in this marriage. I don't think I'll make it past 5 years. You don't want to go into marriage with a person that has a timeline for that marriage. That would be the biggest shock of your life. Okay, so having these conversations around divorce and also knowing their backgrounds, to know if there's somebody that has been through divorce and what the family thinks about divorce. This is very important, and I cannot overemphasize the importance of having these conversations, just so you don't end up shocking yourself in marriage. The fifth question you should be asking is sex. And I know that's a very big one. A lot of people like to put it first, but in all honesty, all those things I'm listing out are in no particular order, okay? You want to talk to your partner about sex, what their take is on sex. Sex before marriage, celibacy, sexual satisfaction, their thoughts on sex toys and sexual pleasure, or how they want to be satisfied. Now, when you talk about sex, it is so broad. There's so many things that are all encompassing in sex. This is a conversation that may last more than just a sit down talk, right? It might be as time goes on, you guys keep talking about these things and you get to know them, get to know what they believe in. While some people believe in celibacy and, you know, abstinence before marriage, some other people believe that before they even get married to you, they must have gone down there and, if possible, even impregnated you, okay? While some women will tell you, oh my God, I need to test that engine to be sure it's working. Everybody has their preference, but you need to have this conversation just to make sure that you and your partner are on the same page. I'm not here to tell you what is right or what is wrong. It is not in my place. But like I said, there are certain questions that are very important. And if you're not asking the right questions before marriage, when you go in there, whatever you see, you take, because, I mean, you didn't ask, okay? You didn't ask. So you need to make sure you're well informed. This is not to say that there are no shockers. This is not to say that even after asking, things don't just stumble on you. 1001%. It's very possible, because human beings are the most dynamic people I've ever seen. However, having this conversation kind of just sets your mind on what to expect and also the kind of person you're with, if that makes sense. Number 7 question you should be asking before walking down that aisle is, what are your deal breakers? Now, this is a big one, guys, I must tell you, because this will determine whether that relationship will end right there or if it's going to go further, okay? Now, people have different deal breakers. Just make sure yours is not superficial. Yours is not flimsy. Things as little as, you know, things that don't matter. Make sure it's something deeper. For example, myself, my deal breaker is I cannot marry a man that is not Igbo or a man that is not Christian, right? That is because I am Igbo, and I feel like it would just save me a lot of stress marrying somebody who has the same cultural beliefs, understanding, language as myself. Like I said, it is my deal breaker. So what that means is your deal breaker is particular to you, not anyone else. Okay. Some people will tell you, I cannot marry a man that is short, or I cannot marry a man that does 9 to 5. I cannot marry a man that does business. Some people will say, I cannot marry a man that lives overseas. These are deal breakers. These are things that when you sit down and evaluate, you know what you want, you know what works for you and what doesn't. At the end of the day, you know what's best for you. The moment you put it all out on the table in complete honesty, you both are saving each other stress of, thinking that there is hope for that relationship. Number 8 question you should be asking before walking down the aisle is, do you have a mentor? Do you have a spiritual leader? Somebody that you can report to, or that I can report to when you're not doing right by me? Somebody that I can talk to about you, that you listen to, that you respect, and that will call you to order when you're not doing things right. The problem is a lot of people don't have a spiritual leader or a mentor or somebody that they look up to, they respect. Some people tell you, oh, I have a pastor, or I have an uncle, but they don't respect him or her. Okay, so having somebody who your partner respects, I don't even want to use the word fear because that might be too intense, but having somebody that your partner respects and adores and listens to, someone that can call him or her to order when he's not doing it right, that is priceless. That will help them stay accountable. Accountability is everything, guys. You don't even want a partner that is not accountable. That is one question to ask. And even after they tell you, oh, I have this person, make an effort to see them. Make an effort to be in the same space where they're having conversations and just see how they relate. Sometimes they might tell you, oh, I respect this person, this is my mentor, but they don't even have up to two seconds conversations with that person. So how will that person be able to call them to order and they listen if they don't even have that relationship, if that makes sense? So that is definitely something you want to sit down and think about. Number 9 question you want to be asking is, how is your relationship with your parents and your siblings? How a man or a woman treats his or her parents or family members speaks a lot about how they will treat you in that marriage. If they're not kind, if they're not supportive, if they're not there for their family, how sure are you that they will be there for you? That is something you want to sit down and analyze and talk about and discuss and observe, because also it's not just about talking. They might tell you, oh, I love my parents, I'm there for them, but the reality of things is that they don't give 2 cents. Okay, and you can only know these things if you see the relation, if you see how these things are done, because a man or a woman can only pretend for so long. At the end of the day, the true color shows. Okay, so the earlier you have these conversations, the better. The number 10 question you want to ask is, are you a man or a woman that is easily controlled by family, friends, and situations? A lot of people, no matter how old they get, they are still under peer pressure to either be something or do something. There are a lot of men out there that their parents literally tell them what to do. They don't have a mind of their own, especially some men in their 30s and 40s. You don't want to marry a mommy's boy. You don't want to marry a daddy's girl who does only what the dad says, or a mommy's boy who has to take permission from the mom to make family decisions that affect your home. These are things you want to sit down and talk about. And like I said, it's not just about conversations. You also need to be very observant to see the red flags. There are a lot of red flags that people ignore during courtship that comes back to bite them in the ass in marriage. You want to watch out for these red flags and make sure you avoid them head on. The number 11 question you want to be asking your partner before you walk down the aisle is how their last relationship ended. You don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who is always the cause of the end of their relationships. You also need to pay attention to the way they speak about their exes. The way they talk about their ex goes a long way to tell you the kind of person they are, whether they are the ones that cause the breakups or they're the root cause of the problem. So you need to pay attention to these details. Sometimes everything is not conversations. You can't have conversations about everything. You need to be very observant to see the loopholes. And if you're very observant, you detect the red flags. And this will determine whether to go further or to take a halt. All right? The number 12 question you want to be asking is what their opinion is about having kids. Are they open to surrogacy? Are they open to IVF? Are they open to adoption in a situation where you cannot have your own children? Also talk about how long after marriage it is before they want to have kids. Some people have different preferences. Some people want to enjoy their lives, live la vida loca for years before even thinking about motherhood or fatherhood. These are conversations to have, because to be honest, you don't want to be in a marriage with a person who is very nonchalant about having kids, okay? Also, you have to think about family background and their cultural beliefs. There are people that believe in even impregnating you before getting married to you. So these are factors to consider. And like I said, having conversations around these things saves you a lot of stress and headaches, okay? The number 13 question you want to be asking, are there any family illnesses or ancestral issues I should know about? Some family members have ancestral curses that they are aware about. Ancestral delays, family bondages, paternal and maternal involvement, deity shrines that they worship. Some people also have age-long ancestral curses and ancestral diseases that they are known for in their family, such as madness, mental illness and instability, such as poverty. These are things you need to look out for. These are things you need to have honest conversations about. Because trust me, again, you don't want to go into a family that has a history of mental illness, or a family that worships idols if you're Christian, okay? So these are conversations to have that saves you a lot of stress. The number 14 conversation to have is on finance. Ask your partner, what's their take on splitting the bills? What's your take on family responsibility? Is he the kind of man that wants to split bills with you 50-50, 60-40, or 70-30? Is she the kind of woman that is happy to pick up responsibilities, or believes that the man should carry all the family burden? After all, he's the head of the family. These are conversations to have, because my dear, you don't want to go into a marriage and die inside simply because you're forming man of the house, okay? Or as a woman, you don't want to go into a marriage where you want to leave everything for your husband to carry if he's not financially capable of doing these things, okay? So conversations like this save you a lot of stress. And this is because 30 to 40% of the issues in marriages today are due to finance. Not being able to understand how to navigate the family's finance, who is to do what, how much you're supposed to bring to the table. You want to be sure that your husband to be or your wife to be understands the concept of finance. You guys need to both sit down and talk about what who is bringing to the table and how to support the family at the end of the day. In a situation where you're looking at having a big family, that is even another conversation to have, okay? The number 15 question you want to be asking your partner is, what do you envisage in our lives together as husband and wife? How do you see yourself? How do you see me in that marriage? In the case of the husband, is he a team player? Is it the type that will assist you with the kids, assist you in the kitchen, or believes that, oh, I provide the money, so therefore it's none of my business? Is it the kind of husband that understands what it means to actually support your wife through thick and thin? In the flip side, this also goes to the women. Is your wife going to be the kind of woman who understands that there may come a time in my life as a man where I may not be financially stable to carry all the family responsibility? Is she going to be the kind of woman that will step in, support me during the trying times? These are conversations to have, because again, like I said, you don't want to marry somebody that doesn't have that mindset, that orientation. You're going to suffer. You're going to go through shaggy. So you need to beware. Now, the last but not the least, which is the number 16 question you should be asking before walking down that aisle is, do you like me as a person? Am I your person? Or are you marrying me because I tick all the boxes for you in an ideal man or an ideal woman? Guys, this might seem very trivial. This might seem very not so important, but it is very important. In a time and age like ours, a lot of people get married not because they like the man or like the woman. It's because he possesses some of the qualities that they cannot see in the people they actually love. Maybe the man he or she loves doesn't have money. but she wants money, so she's coming to you because you can provide for her and give her all the luxury she needs. Okay, so you need to make sure that whoever you're marrying or whoever you're walking down the aisle with is someone you genuinely like. In a situation, God forbid, where they are involved in an accident and they no longer look as handsome or as beautiful as they used to be, will you still like them? Will you still love them the way they are? In a situation where they're no longer capable of providing for you, will you still love them enough to be with them? Now, these are questions you need to sit down, pray about, talk about, and observe. Okay? These 16 points, I'm sure they are not the only ones. There are more to them. Now, please tell me in the comment section what you think about this point. Did you have these conversations before marriage? Does any of these questions resonate with you? Or do you think there are questions I left out? Please let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for being a part of this community. If you haven't subscribed, do well to subscribe, do well to like, do well to share, and be a part of this community. Okay, if you're an OG, thank you for stopping back again and being a part of this community. We really appreciate you. And until next time, bye.